The democracy is a machine. It either works or it doesn't. Machine, he means AI. No. Religion is a search for universal and eternal truth via Socrates, Jesus, and Buddha. On a side note, if you can't work with any of them, yours is probably wrong. I always lie. Trump fired a passel of IG a while ago. Am I still having some type of problem with the Pentagon? We had to let those guys kill us because of that guy. Well, if you're getting penalized for Pearl Harbor, we're talking about pre-war Japan, Washington. Congratulations, you resurrected Hiroshima. The Pentagon ostensibly has these general orders that Mark Kelly was talking about, and now Hegseth, I presume, is playing out some kind of conflict with this decorated astronaut so that they can guarantee flow, right? Anybody stealing your messages to each other, it's a conventional act of war. But 10 years ago, I had no reasonable expectation that Trump knew who I was, and since I haven't heard back for 10 years, I can't be 100% sure he does now. Have you seen the rolls at Florida Department of Health and Human Services? It's like over 50% Haitians, and there's nothing racial about it. They're eating the cats, for the love of Christ. They're eating the dogs. You can't work with that, but you're not in on it. Like you're both in charge, but you're not together. This is Child Protective Services we're talking about. The Mexicans are stealing our jobs. My roads, my vaginas. So you're selling AI to the Pentagon, while Nigeria programs in this flat earth, moralistic, theocratic, flat earth. So we got clandestine abominations and Nazis on one side and God's perfect fruit on the other. Because these people are not like American blacks. Okay, we have black Christians here. Over there, and I'm not saying that the Christians over there are Muslims. I'm just saying it's not against Islam to pretend you're Christian. And they say there's multiple, like the Sunnis and the Shias, and these ones are our friends and these ones aren't, and we might change them. But it's persecute or be martyred is the main, what it says in the Quran. And then there's also persecute or starve, and that's tech support. You're poor because of those guys. I am poor. I live in squalor. Islam believes our ancestors escaped enslavement by theirs, and we are all born fugitives of a debt that can never be repaid. The idea being that my ancestor had slaves, and now I'm poor, and it's their fault. But first, do no harm, or you're not a doctor in any religion. A doctor is a stoic, like a judge or a general. So you're not those things either. Do you want jingleheads? This is how you get jingleheads. One does not win a holy war by transgressing church and state. I suggested that a military police state might have been appropriate immediately after 9/11, not that you should let the Haitians in Walmart ship our armor back and forth to each other while we stand around getting our asses blown off in Iraq, lose a 15-year war in Afghanistan, and then try a military police state. Some of these people think the object of their religion is just to make things so bad that Christ has to come back and fix it himself, which is convenient if you run your own corporate colonial prisons, knowing, as we do from the revelation of St. John of Patmos, that when Jesus comes back, it's not scheduled for another forgiveness tour. One has to presume these people are real miserable, or, their paycheck comes from someone who is. And I was born a black horse, Washington, black as night. But I got a bunch of stupid, sneaky dickheads following me around. Some say that's communism. Communism is heresy. Capitalism reserves the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason, but not communism. So they're abusing our freedoms until we resent them. We reject them voluntarily. Catholics seek the root of corruption and make it holy. What does that mean? well. You could bring it home. You could wash it, bathe it, and teach it how to sing. You could blow it up. I would suggest that you not insure it in your own population credit and just blow it to smithereens and be like, that's how much it was worth. I traced Cambridge Analytica before the pandemic. I've been writing to the CIA for 10 years. I'm worth more than the CDC. I swore a Hippocratic oath to Christ and Senate, to the Vatican on Twitter, before Pope Francis, pending acknowledgement. I'm the only doctor around these parts. So you're telling me Trump fired all those IG and we still have a problem? Follow me, IG. Because diplomatic immunity since 1992 fled the U.S. in 2016. Whether he killed himself or died or not, you'd have never heard of Jeffrey Epstein. So now there's no big Nazi l'Empereur de la Soul. I'm a practical comparative theologist with an IQ of 138. Now, granted, they canceled IQ testing before we found that out, but the Taliban studies comparative theologies. They're allowed because Islam's the religion of God. But if they hear you bought a Quran from Amazon so that you could fact check all the claims being made on the internet, they act like, oh, he's a human rights, must be a Muslim. They were already saying I was Muslim, trying to cover up raping me in surgery since I was 6 years old. But nah, because a real religion has separation of church and state embodied in the sanctuary. Otherwise, the church is meaningless. And religion is supposed to last forever. The democracy is an experiment. Our experiment. I have never stood within the walls of any mosque. That means draw a picture with your brain when I do that. Any mosque that is still standing in the eyes of God. No person, living or dead, has ever witnessed me exit a mosque that did not explode afterwards. God did not mistake me for a Muslim. The Sunnis, they think that their prophet is a different bloodline. That's Shia, right? The prophet, direct descendant of Taliban. They're all Taliban. Nigeria, Taliban. Chad, Taliban. CAR, Taliban. Sudan, Taliban. Kenya, Taliban. Somalia, Taliban. It's not hate speech. They raped me. If they were here to prosecute that, they'd have no reason, right? It'd be self-defeating. They'd have no reason to just skip Washington, jump straight into child and family protection. The Mexicans are stealing our jobs. We can't hire the Mexicans for $5 an hour if they want, like, 6 of them living in one bedroom. Can't, not allowed. Uganda jumping straight into the cardinality. So you thought I was part of some kind of problem that the last king of Scotland wasn't, and you're not cultists? If you can thank God for dead soldiers, you can thank him for dead Westboro Baptists. And I know what you're thinking, GOP. It was just some homos, or it was just like insurance fraud, right? What? How come he's allowed? But who went and made sure that they were all fraud? Who went and visited all the widows? 2014, a doctor ripped off insurance. I didn't notice until collections tried to kill me in 2015. I tried to subpoena the hospital, but they got to the lawyer. Democracy was officially off the table, so I had to look into it. When I got back in 2016, the love of my life was 7 months pregnant. They raped her the minute I left town and got her strung out on cocaine to connect the Pentagon to crimes they never could pin on me because I hate cocaine. What are the odds? That's not normal, right? Maybe it has something to do with the nerve gas after my first date in high school for cheating on the guy who raped me in surgery when I was 6 years old. Maybe, it affected the receptors. How come you're not married? You're just never Christian enough for the guys that raped 84,000 Boy Scouts